When starting a new job in Ontario, Canada, your employer might give you two different forms. The first one is the TD1 form federal and the second one is the TD1 form for Ontario. Let's talk about the TD1 Ontario form today. The purpose of this form is for you to tell your employer about any possible provincial grants or credits you might have. That way, your employer can calculate how much tax to deduct from your salary based on the available months you have in this year as well as your credits. Please remember that this form is not for tax returns. It is to provide instruction to your employer on how much tax to deduct from your salary. So don't worry about it if you are doing any mistakes in this form. Because let's say if you claim less deductions than your eligibility, then you will end up paying more tax, which means you will get some tax refunds at the end of the year. On the other hand, by mistake, if you are claiming more tax deductions, then you will owe some tax to the CRA and you'll have to pay some tax at the end of the year. Hi, I'm Raj, your friend in need, and in today's video, I'm going to walk you through this whole form and we'll also cover some common questions so that you don't struggle while filling out this form. Also, please let me know if you have any comments or questions in the comment section below. This form is for 2024, but even if you are filling the form in future, please remember that only the numbers will change and most of the fields will still stay similar. Before we start, please remember that you only get tax refunds when you end up paying more tax through your salary. So if you are filling out this form properly, you will end up paying less tax through your salary, which means you will get lesser refunds at the end of the year. So let's get started. First section is about the personal information. In this section, the common fields are last name, first name, date of birth, your address and postal code, and even your social insurance number. Employee number is only required if you have been given the employee number by your employer so far. To classify as non-resident, there is a separate rule. You are a non-resident for income tax purpose only if you are normally living in another country and are not considered resident of Canada. Also, you do not have any significant residential ties with Canada because you live outside Canada throughout the year, or you live outside Canada at least 183 days in the current year. So leave that blank if you are current resident of Canada. Please remember that if you are in a work permit or a study permit, you are still a resident of Canada. The first box in the form is the basic personal amount. Remember that every person employed in Ontario and every pensioner residing in Ontario is eligible to make this claim, which is $12,399 for the year 2024. So you don't have to do anything here. The next box is the age amount. If you are or will be above 65 by the end of the year and your net income is less than $45,068, you can enter $6,054 here. If your income is more than $45,068 and less than $85,428, you can still claim some partial amount, but for that you will have to fill out this additional worksheet called TD1-ON-WS. There you can calculate how much partial amount you are eligible for and attach it with this form and give it back to your employer. Box number 3 is for the pension amount. If you are receiving pension other than the Canada Pension Plan, Quebec Plan, Old Age Security, or even Guaranteed Income Supplements, you can fill out 1,714. If your annual pension other than those pension plans I mentioned is less than 1,714, then please add that amount instead. Box number 4 is the disability amount. If you have submitted the T22-01 form to the CRA and they have entitled you as a disabled person, then you can claim this disability amount, which is $10,017. Box number 5 is for spouse and common law partner. You can enter $10,528 if you are supporting your spouse. Supporting your spouse means the spouse lives with you as well as the spouse net income is less than $1,053 for the tax year. You can enter the partial amount if your spouse net income is more than $1,053 but less than $11,581. The next box is the amount for eligible dependent. You can claim this amount if you meet all of these conditions. If you do not have a spouse or a common law partner, you have a dependent that lives with you and the dependent's net income is less than $1,053. If their income is more than $1,053 and less than $11,581, you can still claim the partial amount, but for that you will have to fill up the worksheet. If their income is more than that, there is nothing to fill. Box number 7 is for the Ontario Caregiver Amount. You can claim this amount if you are supporting an infirm dependent, which means that they need special care or support. Does not mean that they have to be disabled, just that they need special care and support. It could be your child or grandchild. It could be your parent, grandparent, brother, sister who is a resident of Canada. Box number 8 is for the amount transferred from a spouse or a common law partner. If your spouse or common law partner has some unused credits because they have not made enough income for the year, you can use those credits in this box. You might not be able to calculate that if they are working, but if you know that they are not working and they receive certain eligibility or credits, you can calculate that and enter the amount here. Box number 9 is amount transferred from a dependent. Same thing, but with the dependent, if they are entitled for certain credits and they do not have necessary income, you can use that unused credit in your TD1 form. And finally, the box number 10 is the total amount. So calculate everything from 1 to 9 and add the final value in the total claim amount. Now let's go to the next page. In the next page, we can see the first option is more than one employer or payer at the same time, which means if you filled out this form for any other employer this year, then you can just tick this box. Do not fill fill anything else on the previous page and return it back to your employer, stating that you have already claimed the tax credits and you do not want to claim it again. Next is total income is less than the total claim amount. You can tick this box if your total amount in the previous page, box number 10, is more than your income. Basically, your income is less than the amount you are claiming and your employer cannot deduct any provincial tax in that case. The next section is the additional tax to be deducted. Let's say if you know that you have to pay some tax at the end of the year and you want to deduct that additional tax. Provincial form does not allow that, so you have to fill the federal TD1 form for that. If you are looking to fill out the federal TD1 form as well, please check out the video here. I have explained everything in detail for the year 2024. The other tax reductions you can do is through the T1213 form, which means if you have any other credits which are not covered here, which includes the RRSP, child expenses, and other employment expenses or charitable donations, you can fill out this form called T1213, submit it to the CRA, they will validate it, send the numbers back to you, and then you can give it to your employer so they can reduce further tax from your salary. To fill out that form in detail, please check out the video here. If you want to learn more about tax and the finance tips which can help you here in Canada, please subscribe to my channel as I share similar videos. Finally, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please share it with the people in need and I will see you in the next one.